Never let your daughter walk home from school alone, or you'll regret it. A van suddenly pulled up beside the girl, and within seconds, she was lying unconscious in the back seat as the vehicle sped away. After receiving the report, police launched a massive investigation but came up empty. The girl had vanished without a trace. 11 years later, a pale-faced girl suddenly appeared in town, barely dressed, and collapsed on the street shortly after. Bystanders rushed over to check on her and called for an ambulance. Soon, Gemma received a call from the police. When she learned that her daughter, missing for 11 years, had been found, tears streamed down her face, and she immediately shared the shocking news with her husband. The family rushed to the hospital, but the girl lying in the bed was so pale they could barely recognize her as their daughter. It wasn't until Sam noticed the tattoo on her arm that he confirmed she was indeed his daughter. He remembered clearly. They had gotten into a huge fight over that very tattoo years ago. The next day, Alice recounted the details of her kidnapping. When she described the abuse she had endured over the years, her father couldn't bear to listen anymore and stepped out of the room, barely holding back his grief. Detective Eve, who was leading the investigation, didn't stop her questioning because while Alice was unconscious, she had repeatedly murmured a name, Sophie. Sophie was another missing girl who had also been abducted by a yellow cargo van. They needed to find clues fast. Sophie might still be alive. Alice's face twisted in pain as she admitted she did know Sophie. They had been held captive in the same place. Because Sophie was stubborn and refused to comply, their captor treated her especially harshly. Alice had wanted to take her along when she escaped, but Sophie was too weak to walk and was probably dead by now. Alice was too frail to provide more information for the time being. Following the escape route Alice described, police conducted a massive search in the forest but found nothing. The couple prayed nothing worse would happen, but reality had other plans. A nurse informed them of the test results. Alice had stretch marks, indicating she had given birth at some point. 3 weeks later, Alice recovered and finally came home. Gemma tried to ask about the child, but Alice insisted she had never had a baby. Gemma was puzzled. Why would her daughter deny this? After her parents left the room, Alice kept fidgeting with her fingers, a strange smile creeping across her face. Gemma returned to the room and looked at photos of Alice as a child, and an unsettling feeling began to grow. Her daughter felt like a stranger. She shared her concerns with her husband, but he brushed them off, reassuring her that Alice had been through so much trauma over the years and just needed time to adjust to normal life. Just then, the doorbell rang. It was Julian, the detective handling the case of the other missing girl, Sophie. Having learned that Alice and Sophie had been held together, he came specifically to ask about Sophie. Julian asked Alice if she could retrace her escape route if he took her back to the forest. Alice's answers were full of inconsistencies, and Julian immediately sensed something was off. Just as he was about to press further, Sam noticed his daughter's resistance and firmly asked Julian to leave. However, Alice's habit of fidgeting with her fingers caught Julian's attention. The gesture seemed familiar. Julian reviewed the surveillance footage from before Sophie's disappearance and noticed that Sophie made the exact same nervous gesture. This led Julian to suspect that the girl in front of him might not be the real Alice at all. She could be Sophie, missing all these years. But why would she pretend to be Alice? What exactly had they been through all this time?